Hey YouTube, this is the Dragon Loot here to promote his Machina name deck. I call it Machina when originally it's called like Machina. Maybe because I got the name Machina from a Final Fantasy game. I don't know, I just call it Machina because I like it better. Well, I'm here to show you a Machina deck that I've made, and it's pretty good, it's awesome, it's good. Well, here I'm going to start. Well, one, you're going to have 3 Machina Fortresses. Machina Fortress is a 7-star of type, 2500, pretty good, nice. It's a pretty nice card. Its effect is, well, you can discard 8 stars in order to summon it. We normally summon with discard a monster, and that's because it's 7 stars right off the bat. There we go. And summon it to the field. Since there's 3, that's good. Discard 1 star from each monster to get one of these out. And there's a combo right there. Discard 1 monster to get all 3 because they only use 1 star off the monster. What's up? It's a pretty good card. Now next is Gear Frame. You normally have 3 of those because they help you get your fortress out right there. So what Machina Gear Frame does is nice 1800 monsters are type 0 defense, which is not a good thing, but it doesn't matter. It's used to get any Machina name card from the deck, and you get to bring it to your hand. Well, and it's easy because it's Gear Frame, Machina Fortress, or getting Machina Force. Either way, it doesn't matter. But yep, that's what Gear Frame 3. Next is Pacekeeper. You get Pacekeeper. This 2-star, nice Union monster. Same as Gear Frame. Gear Frame's a Union monster. Pacekeeper, you get to go in your deck once it's destroyed and sent to your graveyard, and you get in your deck, go and get 1 Union monster from your deck and bring it to your hand. Usually you get Pacekeeper, usually get Gear Frame, and Gear Frame gets any other Machina name card like Fortress, which is most common. I would say you have 2 in there because, you know, it'd be easier to get Gear Frame out, most likely. Also good for defense if you want to set it down. And people are going like, oh damn, he has that, oh man. So that's how it is. Next is Machina Force. I would suggest you might having 3 or 2, because one thing, you can use these cards just to discard to get Fortress out from the graveyard. Another combo is, if you have Fortress in your hand, and you have 1 Fortress in your graveyard, and you have a Force in your hand, you go and discard the Fortress from your hand and a Force to go and get Fortress and another Fortress from your hand and the graveyard. It's because of that, because you're using the stars off the Fortress and the stars off the Fortress from the graveyard. Well, no, you're using the Force star to get the original Fortress from the graveyard, and you're using 1 star from Force to get the Fortress from your hand to summon it, since you're using the Fortress from your hand to get the stars off that. And so you have 2 on the field. That's one good combo right there. So that's pretty good for Force. Yeah, pretty good. Now, here comes the gadgets. Gadgets, green gadgets, red gadgets, and yellow gadgets. Gadgets are pretty good because it just common. Once you summon them, you get to go and get another gadget from your hand. Since you get green, green gets red, red gets yellow, and it continues on like that. It's mostly good to have 2 of each kind, because if you do 3, that's too much, and I think that's too much. If you want to run 3, go ahead, it's your choice. Mostly I suggest 2. Yeah. Next is the built-up soldier, Dynamo. I would suggest having this in your deck because you have since you normally have gadgets in your hand, you summon them, and if you have them on the field, you get to have the built-up soldiers. The built-up soldiers get 2,000 attack if there's 1 gadget on your field. That's a good thing because they have 2,000 defense and 2,000 attack. That's good. Pretty good. Also, great defense if you want to set a monster or whatever. Yep, good to have 2. Next is the Ancient Gear Gadgetron Dragon. It's pretty good to have your deck because there's gadgets there, and it's an 8-star. Since it's an 8-star, it's also good for Machina Fortress to discard and whatever. Yep. and also its effects for Gadgetron for green, red, and yellow. It doesn't depend on which amount you discard for this. All you have to do is tribute a gadget on your side of the field, special summon, boom, it's right there. Also, if your opponent runs with machines and have gadgets, you get to tribute a monster off their side of the field, special summon Gadgetron Dragon. That's a good thing. Well, I would run with one, because if you do two, that might be too much. Next thing is my Cyber Dragons. Cyber Dragons in this deck would normally be stables, and it'd be good to just special summon on the field if bottomless was to be played or whatever. And yes, they're colored. Good colored. Holographic. Yep, good. And if you want to summon another monster, it would be good with this. Cyber Dragon, bottomless. Monster, there we go. Saved. So it's good to have two. Next is, I would have Ancient Gear Beast in there because it's good, because if you summon that, when you attack, I would say you're safe for that monster, and it's good just for a 2000 attack monster. And I'd say it's a stable in the deck as well, my deck. I would suggest having them. Now we move on to magics. I would have 3 Solidarities in there, because what Solidarity does is it gains 800 attack for one type of monster in your deck in your graveyard, and your monsters on your side of the field gain 100 attack. That's good, because if you're running with machines, just plain machines, it gains 800 each time you summon a monster. Each time a monster is summoned, they gain 800 attack. Pretty nice card. Yep, good. So make sure you have 3. Next is Machina Armored Unit. They have 2 in there, I suggest. I mean, you can put 3, it doesn't really matter. What Machina Armored Unit does is, if a monster on your side of the field is destroyed with battle and sent to a graveyard, you get to go in your deck and get a monster with the same attribute but less attack, and summon it on the field. So it's pretty good to have 2. Next, Magic's Limited Removal. It's good OTK move. Magic card, because if all your monsters double attack, all that, yeah, it's pretty good. Make sure you have that. Next is 2 Noblements. That's awesome. It's pretty good if your opponent sets a monster and you want to, remove it from play or whatever. And if it's a flip, get remove of all of them. That's pretty good. So make sure you have that. Next is Pot of Avarice. It's good for the Machinas because most of your monsters are going to be going to the graveyard. And you get to go and get 5 monsters from the graveyard and bring them back to the deck, shuffle, and get 2 extra cards. Just +1 on that. Next is Dark Hole. The stable cards, Giant Trinade, Swords. Pretty good. Giant Trinade, bring your face back, row back. Dark Hole, remove all monsters from inside the field. And my field, I guess. And Swords, it's all time. And next is Shrink. Shrink, if it's a good stable card if you want to have 2 or 3 in there. I mean, your choice. You would remove that, or you would have to attack one of your monsters or the other monsters for some reason. And if you have like a gadget on the field and since it's a low attack and your other opponent's monster has higher attack, cut it in half, the monster is destroyed. Make sure you do it during the damage step because it's the only thing that's good. Next is my traps. 3 compulsories. I think that's good because think of it as if you're using Gear Frame. You summon a Gear Frame in order to get Fortress of Force or whatever Machina name card in your deck, and you would use compulsory. Bring the Machina Gear Frame back. Play it again in the next turn. There we go. It's a continuous move. So make sure you have 3 of them. Also, it's good for bringing back one of your opponent's monsters if you want to. That's good. And another thing is Ultimate Offering. Make sure you have 2 of them because for gadgets, and if you have Solidarity on the field, that's a good to TKO if your opponent doesn't have any back row or whatever. It's a nice move. A nice card as well. So, but you have to pay 500 for each monster you played. So, your suggestion. Next thing is the 7 Tools of the Bandit. Make sure you pay 1,000 life points. It's good for negating trap cards like Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment. Since it's a counter trap, counter that. It counters another card, whatever. Chain, whatever. I don't like chain, but whatever. It's a pretty good card if you want to do that. And traps. Next is Trap Stun. You want to stop your opponent from activating back row, from traps and whatever. That's a good card to play, good card to have. Pretty nice. Yeah, if you want to continue attacking whatever, which I like. Next, it was DP, Dimensional Prism. I would say you would have 2 or 3 in there. I would just have 1 because I'm using other cards in my deck. But yeah, Dimensional Prism, move your monsters, your opponent's monster from play, they attack. If you want to save your monster, that's what I'm saying. Next is Ceasefire. Ceasefire is if you have monsters on your side of the field and your opponent's side of the field, and they're effect monsters, you lose 5. Your opponent loses 500 for each monster that's been affected by this card. And if they're face down, you get to flip them face up. And all that. Yep, good card. Next is Force Relinquish. Force Relinquish, as if you're using Fortress, Machina Fortress, as if you're discarding a monster from your hand and itself, that goes as 2. So that's +2 on that. And that's good. Any other cards in your deck that good with discarding? Your opponent's discarded as well. That's good. Now, for extra deck, you have Chimera Tech Fortress Dragons, pretty good. Nice OTK card, monster. Make sure you have Overdrive over Future Fusion or Pollinization or whatever fusion card you summon that. It's pretty good. Now is the Spirit cards. I have it's 15. This is the Gadgetron Chimeras. It's good on that end. Make sure you have 2 of those. 2 is good. Next is Machina Soldier. Make sure you have 2 of those. It's good because once you summon it and you have no other monsters on your side of the field, you get to summon the fortress. That's good. Now, Magic have a Heavy Storm. If it's ever not banned, make sure you have one. Shrink, I would presume, make sure you have 2 or 1. It doesn't really matter, but Shrink if your monster attacks low monster. And when you're on low monsters, so you get to do that, whatever. Yep, and that's good. It makes this Machina armored unit, have an extra one, just in case. Make sure you overload fusion, just for precautions. Scrap Iron Scarecrow, I have it as a side card because it's good. You get to flip it face down once you use it. Yep, good against blocking attacks on your opponent. Yep. This is Threatening Roar. It's a pretty good card. I took it out of my deck for some reason. I mean, I don't know why. You get to block all attacks for 1 turn, and that's good. Call the Haunted is a nice card. I would say bring back Fortress. Time Machine is good because if one of your monsters gets destroyed, you get to bring it right back. So that goes extra monster on your side of the field. 2 Sagaretsus is good. I took it out of my deck because I have much space. So Sagaretsu armor is good for destroying your monster if destroying your opponent's monster if it attacks. So yeah. Next is 2 Meteor Flares. I'd say have them in your deck so you can just easily kill your opponent. So you basically lose half of their life points. So it's 8,000 to 4,000 if you want to discard. Plus with Force Relinquish activated, you get to discard 4 cards. Your opponent's discard 4 cards. That's awesome. Plus the damage. There goes the move right there. OTK right there. So that's my deck right there. Machina Mayhem, Machina Mayhem, whatever. It's a pretty awesome deck. Make sure you get it. Yeah. And yeah, talk to you later.